Most people reaching for better sleep start with a pill. Melatonin, right off the shelf, taken before bed. But look at what the research actually shows. Across 19 trials, melatonin cut the time to fall asleep by about 7 minutes. Meanwhile, a short walk outside within an hour of waking can shift your entire internal clock by more than an hour. That gap is not small. It means a lot of sleep advice has been aimed at the wrong part of the day. For years, sleep advice obsessed over the night. Dim the lights, cut the caffeine, get a better mattress. Morning barely came up, treated like an afterthought instead of the part of the day that actually runs the show. Your body has a master clock, a cluster of roughly 20,000 neurons sitting just above where your optic nerves cross. It takes its main cue from light hitting the retina. Think of it less like a clock and more like a conductor. It keeps hundreds of separate biological rhythms, hormones, temperature, digestion, playing in the same tempo. Morning light is the baton tap that tells the whole orchestra when the piece begins. A meta-analysis pooling 19 separate, placebo-controlled trials found melatonin reduced the time to fall asleep by an average of just over 7 minutes. That effect is real. It is also modest. Melatonin still has a legitimate clinical role, particularly for people with genuine circadian phase disorders. But for resetting a misaligned clock in someone with an otherwise typical schedule, 7 minutes is not much to work with. Morning light works upstream of that problem instead of downstream. Light hits your retina and travels a direct pathway to your master clock, which then controls when your body releases melatonin later that night. Get bright light early, and that internal signal shifts earlier too, often by an hour or more. In plain terms, melatonin nudges your sleepiness a little. Morning light resets the clock that decides when sleepiness shows up in the first place. Researchers Crowley and Eastman tested something most people would not expect. A single 30-minute session of bright morning light produced roughly 3/4 of the effect of a full 2-hour session, 3/4 from a quarter of the time. The relationship is not a straight line, and it does not reward chasing hours outside for marginal gains. A short, consistent exposure captures most of what morning light can do. What that actually means for most people: you do not need to overhaul your morning or block out 2 hours before work. 30 minutes, ideally outdoors or near a bright window, done consistently, gets you most of the way there. There is a second hormone tied up in this, one that rarely gets mentioned alongside sleep advice: cortisol. Its morning surge, called the cortisol awakening response, is what actually drives the alertness you feel getting out of bed. Research following young adults with delayed sleep schedules found that this morning cortisol surge tracked their actual wake-up time more closely than it tracked their underlying circadian phase. Put simply, when you get up, paired with light, shapes your body's alertness chemistry directly. Not just how sleepy you are tonight, but how alert you are today. A fixed wake time and morning light are doing double duty, anchoring tonight's sleep and today's energy at the same time. None of this requires tracking anything. No wearable to sync, no supplement stack to maintain. It requires stepping outside or, at minimum, toward a bright window within about an hour of waking, ideally at a consistent time. The full research and citations behind everything in this video are at sleepcoachinginstitute.com, including what this means specifically for your practice if you work in health and wellness, and practical steps you can start tonight if you are working on your own sleep. If this was useful, subscribe so you catch the next one. And check the description. Everything we covered today is linked there.